High school sports have evolved. Thanks to PrepSpin. Tonight, catch all the hard-hitting action live and in real time as the game happens in 1080p HD video. Join us tonight for the Mingy Beef Jerky High School Football Game of the Week with the legend, Gary Ball, Coach Mike Meehan, and the king of stream, William Moorfield. Nobody does high school football like PrepSpin does. The Mingy Beef Jerky High School Game of the Week comes your way now.
This is where it all started, right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be for generations to come.
Most of them suck. Our claim to fame is we don't suck. This is Talking Sports on PrepSpin with the king of stream, William Moorfield. Presented and brought to you by Mingy Beef Jerky. And now, let's see who's down with the king of stream. Live from the BGO Studios, this is Talking Sports on PrepSpin.
John Carmichael, not quite the BGO studio here tonight. We're at Zaxby's live on location. And, man, it feels good. We got the East Jessamine Jaguars in the house tonight. We've got Jared Peck from the Lexington Herald leader, and he's the sports writer for them. Took over the duties for Josh Moore. And we're going to talk some football as well around the state. And I think me and Jared will tap on a little bit of the soccer that's going on as well here in hour number one. Hour number two, we got Coach Mike Bolin of the East Jessamine Jaguars. He's going to be joining us. And, man, what a great show we got coming up.
Well, I can't wait to see the head ball coach of East Jessamine. It's been a while, William, since I've been with you. I think probably the greatest team in East Jessamine that I ever seen was 2010, and that's when we were doing play-by-play back then for the Jaguars.
Yep.
So I hope this team can live up to those expectations that I have for them.
I believe, was it the Cameron Thomas team and the Jordan Red team? And
Cameron Thomas.
Zach Timblin.
Zach Timblin, Ronnie King. Cameron Thomas had over 2,500 yards rushing that year, 23 touchdowns. I mean, just an outstanding senior year for him.
All right, so Jared Peck joining us here tonight as well. I mentioned that he was going to be joining us tonight. He's with the Lexington Herald leader. He's their new high school sports reporter. And Jared, man, how's things going for you?
It's going busy. I this morning filed my AP top 10.
There you go.
You got me now? Oh, a little feedback.
We got that big speaker next to you over there.
I just put East Jessamine in my Class 5A top 10 this morning for the first time. We had Henderson County drop out, and then I'll be doing data stuff tonight for the Kentucky.com Player of the Week, which will get posted tomorrow so people can vote on it. People love to vote on that thing.
Then you got, I saw your schedule coming out for this coming week. You got state volleyball, the district volleyball tournaments are coming up. You got over at Lexington Christian Academy. They're hosting a tournament.
Right.
And then who's hosting the 42nd this year?
Bryan Station is hosting the 42nd.
So Bryan Station hosting the 42nd tournament. And then do we know who's hosting the 46th tournament for West Jessamine? Anybody have any idea for the volleyball team there? We'll have to look it up, but West Jessamine also a really good volleyball team as well, and we'll see where they're going to be playing in the district tournament. So we'll look that up maybe in between our first break. But Jared, just talk to me real quick. Let's touch on volleyball, then we'll touch on state soccer. I know state soccer is really, really popular here in Jessamine County because of the West Jessamine Colts and Coach Kevin Wright over there. Phenomenal season once again. Yep. They just ran through the 12th region tournament, beating Pulaski County. It was 9-0.
Right.
They came back. They beat Danville 7-0, and then they took out Mercer County for the region championship, a team that they beat in the district championship. But they beat them 4-0. So I mean, West Jessamine didn't even allow. I didn't even think the ball got on the other side of the field in that regional tournament.
Well, I watched West Jessamine play Dunbar a couple weeks ago, and they looked like they were back to their old self. We'll see what they've got. They've got a first-round game this week. I can't remember who it's against, but they'll face in the next round the winner of Lexington Catholic and Clark County. That game will be at Clark County, maybe on the new turf. It's a little narrower field than they have at LCA, but that should be good. Henry Clay boys are going up to Scott High School where they're going to play Calvary Christian. And I think that they've, as a region champ, they have to be taken seriously. In volleyball, got coming up, the district semifinals for the 42nd on Tuesday, and then for the 43rd on Wednesday. Those are the ones that get you into the region tournament, and we're going to have a pretty hot contest between Bryan Station volleyball and Frederick Douglass. I think Bryan Station took the regular season match between those two, and then Lafayette is going to be taking on Tates Creek. And Lafayette beat Tates Creek a couple weeks ago, and that was kind of a big shocker because, they're both ranked in the top 25. The coaches poll is, you take that for what it's worth. The coaches poll in volleyball is a little crazy.
Right.
But, there's that 43rd has got two top 25 teams playing for their playoff lives on Wednesday, and Frederick Douglass should be a top 25 team as well. They've just never cracked the poll, but they've beaten teams in that poll and just have never cracked it. And Bryan Station has been a top 25 team all year, so those district semifinals are going to be pretty hotly contested this week.
Yeah, so here in Nicholasville, you got East Jessamine volleyball. They will be a contender, I think, in that 46 district tournament, and then you got. West Jessamine, of course, right here in their own backyard. But Mercer County is much improved as well. So I think it's between those, you got to choose those three because Bergen's the other one there. So definitely one of those three will end up winning that volleyball tournament. So let's go ahead and switch over to soccer. Yep. And let's talk a little bit about that. And by the way, we got some of the East Jessamine guys here in attendance already, and we will get to you guys here in just a second, I promise you. And we appreciate you guys coming out to Zaxby's and eating here tonight for a great cause. We're raising money for the Jaguars. We're raising money for breast cancer awareness. And just a great thing that East Jessamine's doing here tonight. And thanks to the folks here at Zaxby's, Sandy Adams, and her great staff here for allowing us to do the show here tonight. So right into soccer, and then we'll start talking football. But soccer, we're already at the state tournament, Jared. So it looks like tomorrow night when we talk about local matchups, right. Actually Tuesday night because they switched it on us. It was going to be Monday, now they switched it to Tuesday. So on Tuesday night, Lexington Catholic and George Rogers Clark will be playing over in the girls tournament. And then, in the girls tournament, and then also here in town, you got West Jessamine taking on Highlands. Right. Yeah, Fort Thomas Highlands. Yeah. So, which comes out instead of Notre Dame out of that region this year. That was a shocker. They won 2-1 over Notre Dame. Yeah, and that's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that's as is the case in almost every sport, the draw isn't fair, and sometimes you face some of the best teams early on. In Kentucky high school athletics, just because
we're random drawing out here. We're doing it by, if a bunch of teams are really good close together, sorry about your luck.
Absolutely.
That's just the way it goes. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough contest, but when I saw West Jessamine, they were pretty good. The Tucker girl can flat score, and she's got plenty of help, and, of course, they got probably the best goalkeeper in the state.
Yeah, Anna Rexford, the goalkeeper for West Jessamine, and then Mackenzie Tucker, she actually came over from Woodford County, kind of just fell into the Colts' lap there because, Mark Miracle was talking, he's like, during the summertime, we got a transfer in, and she was asking if she can play for the soccer team. She was from Woodford.
The answer was yes.
Coach Wright, yeah, heck yes. So no doubt about it. She's really filled that void. West Jessamine lost quite a few girls up front there on that line, but Sophie Bish is back too, so that's a good thing for them. And
she's been battling injury for her whole career.
Yeah, so that's a big thing for them. And then the boys soccer, we got Henry Clay still alive, and they're probably the favorite to win out in their region.
They will.
Well, not region, but
if
their bracket.
St. X is in the semifinal bracket, so they'll meet if everything goes according to the way the rankings say. It'll be Henry Clay and St. X in the semifinals again. St. X beat them last year 1-0. St. X is always going to be St. X. Henry Clay is better than they were last year.
Yeah.
They're more experienced. They got the same players.
They're both of those teams are ranked nationally, right? St. X and Henry Clay.
Yeah, they're both ranked nationally, but depending on what you look at, they're 1-2 in the Meyer poll. That's going to be a great match when it comes. They got to get there, but Henry Clay hasn't been taking anybody lightly all year. Coach Baylor told me last week last year they backed into the playoffs. They were under 500 when they went into the district playoffs, and then they just ran the table all the way to the state semifinals. And they did that because they just played the next game. And so what he's liked about his team this year is that they're just playing the next game. They're taking everybody seriously. You saw it when they went to in the region final and played Great Crossing. They didn't take Great Crossing lightly. They put the hammer down early and put it to them and won 6-0 in the region final. And Great Crossing was a really good team.
John Carmichael, I know you're our football expert here tonight, but anything about soccer that you want to touch on?
Oh, they just kick the ball. You're not allowed to touch it, right?
totally different game than the football, right? So that gets us caught up on volleyball. That gets us caught up on soccer here this evening. And what's your schedule look like for this coming week?
I've got to decide between covering volleyball on Tuesday. I really don't want to miss the Douglas-Bryant Station game on Tuesday. And then I'm definitely covering volleyball on Wednesday. I'm probably back to soccer. West Jessamine Lex Catholic. I'm hoping that game is scheduled on Thursday if that game comes on. Or Highlands GRC. If it's Highlands GRC, I don't know if I'm going. But if it's Lexington Catholic West Jessamine, I'm going to be there.
Yeah, no doubt.
But we'll see. And then Friday night, we're deciding between a couple games. There's a city game in town. I'd like to see Dunbar play this year. I think that they've got a good chance of beating Lafayette. Then also DeSales is coming to Mercer County, and that's a big game in that class.
East Jessamine had a bye week in football this past week, but we were over at the Madison Southern game, and this East Jessamine team is pretty phenomenal this season. We had talked about the 2010 team briefly there, John, but East Jessamine doing outstanding things. We're going to have some of the players, and we're going to talk about football when we come back here on the PrepSpin Podcast. Jared Peck, William Warfield, John Carmichael. John Carmichael, first time you're back on the air with me in a long, long time, man.
It's the first time since we did some Lexington Catholic stuff back in 2012, 2013, but first time doing East Jessamine stuff since 2010.
Wow. Well, I'm glad to have John Carmichael back on the mic with me. I feel like I'm really at home tonight, so this is pretty good. I know Coach Bolin likes you too. And
Coach is in the house.
He
the head
is
ball
here.
coach.
We were expecting Coach at 6, but Coach is here now. So we're going to get to some of the players, and we'll talk with Coach Bolin, and we'll talk about some of the state football. And Coach Bolin can fill us in on a lot of this football statewide too. He's like a fanatic.
He's top notch. He's an expert.
All right, we'll be right back here on the PrepSpin Podcast.
some things never change. Like the sound of pads crushing against the equipment, the feel of cleats on fresh-cut grass, or the deep rest from a full practice. Another thing that never changes, the feeling of relief when the whistle blows for break. And the savory snack to go along with it. This is a moment to remember. This is a Mingy moment.
I'm on a fixed income. Credit cards help me balance the money that's coming in and what I need to live on. I've thought about bankruptcy, but how am I supposed to pay for it?
Sometimes the people that need help the most are the very people who can least afford it.
We've come up with a way to get you started for less.
Start your bankruptcy for as little as $78 now. The consultation is free. In Lexington and now in London.
I work really hard, but I'm struggling to pay my bills on time. I've gotten pretty far behind, and I don't know what to do.
Is this happening to you? We're Atkinson, Sims, and Kermode. Bankruptcy could be your best solution.
We're here to give you a fresh financial start.
Start your bankruptcy for as little as $78 now. The consultation is free. In Lexington and now in London.
By the numbers, Whitaker Bank loves the Kentucky communities we serve.
Whitaker Bank supports 496 Kentucky schools.
Over 282,000 students benefit from Whitaker Bank's Kentucky education initiatives.
Whitaker Bank has contributed almost $441,000 to education programs for the advancement of Kentucky's youth.
We share your passion, Kentucky.
Love the bank that loves you back.
Whitaker Bank is uniquely Kentucky.
All right, we return here live to Zaxby's here in Nicholasville. If you guys haven't already got here yet, we do got a crowd starting to come in here, which is a good thing. And if you're out there listening wherever you are, listening on our apps or however you're listening to it, John.
How can the folks listen, William?
All right, so we got the Android app. We're on PrepSpin.com. We got the iPhone app, iHeartRadio, Spotify. I mean, it's out there. You can even get it in your Twitter feed. We tweeted it out earlier, so it's out there, and the audio is live right now. The video portion of it we'll have up later on tonight on YouTube, so you can go back and watch our interviews here today. Coach Bolin over here joining us too now, by the way. And Coach, man, first off, congratulations on an awesome season so far.
Yeah, we've had a good run so far. We've got a long way to go. And I like where my football team's at right now, but still a lot of football to play.
John?
Coach, this is your 15th season. I want to know what makes Coach Bolin tick.
I've wanted to be a football coach since I was a little kid. When my dad, he coached for a little while before I was ever born. And back then in the late 60s and early 70s, there just wasn't any money in coaching. And I've heard his story 1,000 times, but I'll tell it to you. He wanted to be a coach, and he played college football at Eastern and played high school football at Madison High under Roy Kidd before Coach Kidd was an Eastern coach. And so he was in love with football, but you couldn't make a livable wage on it. And so he had to move on to administration. And so he became a principal prior to my birth. And he told me for a long time, he said, get into coaching. He said, don't do the administration route just because the wins aren't there. Nobody patting you on the back. There's no celebrations on Friday night when you're a principal. And, it's a great job. Obviously, being a principal is a much-needed thing, and he was a really good principal. But he said his biggest life regret was getting out of coaching. So heard that growing up and thought, I'm going to be a football coach. And I've had an opportunity to be a principal before, and I've got my degree to do it, but I just feel like this is what I was called to do. And we eat it, breathe it, sleep it at my house. We were off Friday night, and my wife and I went on a hot date to Woodford County to watch another football game, and she was right there by my side, never any questions asked. But at my house, we're eat up with it, and that includes my mom and dad, and just it's our life. And starting July 15th, everybody in our family knows that every Friday night is a football Friday. So it's just what I do, and think about it all the time. off season go to clinics. Just kind of makes me tick.
We live in Nicholasville, KY here, and you got a crosstown rival in West Jessamine. And I think one of the best things, head-to-head, you got a winning record. You're 10-5 against the Colts.
Yeah, we've had a good run. We're on a good streak right now with them. I do know the very first year we ever played them, I kind of got welcomed to town. They beat us, and East at that time had been on a 3-game win streak, and so I was the new coach in town, and right off the bat, it was like the 5th game of the season I lost, and it didn't take me long to realize what that game meant to this community. I noticed that the crowd size was like triple what we'd had at any other game, so it didn't take me long to figure it out, and that kind of motivated me to go back and work a little harder. I had to really commit to getting a full staff. First year I was here, I just didn't have we just weren't deep. I didn't have a lot of coaches with me. Nobody wanted to try the new guy. Everybody left with the old coach, so got a good staff, and we kind of took off from there, and then we went several years. It was battling back and forth, but of late we've had a pretty good run on them.
Jared, I know you've paid a lot of attention to East Jessamine, writing for the Herald Leader, and they really got your attention at the beginning of the season. Talk to me about your thoughts on Coach Bolin and the Jaguars this season.
Well, I was really impressed with them when they played. I came out to see them play Madison Southern. There's a few people on East Jessamine won't leave me alone.
Welcome to my job.
But they certainly have a really nice offense. It was fun to watch that thing run. I'm wondering what you learned out on your hot date against for Woodford County this week.
They got a good team. My wife and I had a good dinner. But they're a good football team. Woodford County, they're one of the few around that still gets under center and runs downhill, and that's been something that I think is an advantage to us, that we are under center. Our linemen have their hands on the ground, and we're coming at you. We don't go backwards very often, so you're going to have to tackle us for 4 downs to stop us. And Woodford County is very much the same way. Now, it's a different offense. They run the veer where they're going to run the triple option, but they've got a dynamic fullback. They've got some really big linemen, and they don't go away from it. If they find out they can pound on you, they're going to keep pounding on you. So a lot of times spread teams, they may score quick, but they'll bail you out too. On 3rd and 5, they'll throw it over the guy's head, or they'll drop the ball, or it'll be a holding call. But when teams run downhill, you've got to tackle them for 4 consecutive downs and stop them from getting 10 yards, and that's what Woodford does. So we're going to have a big task in front of us Friday.
Woodford team here recently, over the past 3 or 4 years, they've really struggled since Stephen Duckworth was the quarterback over there, and since I forget the guy that went to Franklin County that was coaching over there,
Chris Tracy.
Yeah, they've kind of struggled in that program since then, but this year they're looking a little better this year.
Yeah, they've actually got a good team. They played Lincoln County right off the bat in a 7-point game, and that caught my eye because I knew Lincoln was pretty good. They beat Bourbon. Bourbon's got a good football team this year. Mm-hmm. They beat West. They beat a pretty good Collins team the other night. Collins made some mistakes and couldn't get out of their own way, so to speak. But Woodford's got a good football team, and Dennis Johnson's doing a good job over there. And I think this is one of those things they've been building for. They've had big linemen for years. That's where Drake Jackson's from. That starts at Kentucky at center, and they've had 2 or 3 other big kids that come down through there. They got a good football team, and we're going to have to play well.
They kind of are like, I guess like we were at a point, at a disadvantage until they started getting the youth involved. I know you guys are working a lot with the middle school teams now and the youth leagues that we didn't have prior to, 3 or 4 years ago, right, Coach?
Right, yeah. One thing that I know they've got it going in the right direction, because at halftime they honored the 7th grade Bluegrass Conference Championship team. So, they've got some kids coming.
Yeah.
I'll throw this in there. I was a proud member of a Bluegrass Conference champion in 1985, so I'm going to throw that out there and pat myself on the back. We won the 8th grade conference championship back then. But, you've got to get a system. This is a big thing I really believe in. You've got to get a system, and you've got to start teaching it all the way down as low as you can take it, and get your kids to believing in it. And then when they get to you, it just kind of takes care of itself. My son's in the 6th grade right now, and he could play right guard mentally at the high school level. Now, obviously, physically he can. He's 11 years old, but he knows what the right guard does on every one of our plays. And so when he's a high school player, he's going to know what the right guard does. And so that makes it easy. I can't tell you how many times in the game My kids are, hey, coach, let's try this. And we've been together so long, and they've run this offense so long that we can throw plays together that we've not actually practiced. But it's just, okay, you're going to block it with this scheme. We're going to line up in that formation, and we're going to do this. And the kids do it, and it's unbelievable how easy it is to mesh it all together. So that carries over a lot of weight. It also gets the kids in the wing tee. It gets them in the right mentality when they get there. Nobody's coming in as a sophomore saying, Coach, let's throw it all over the place. Well, I got a bunch of records I want to show you about why we don't do that. And, you know, we've done it, and we believe in it. Our kids believe in it. And I think that that carries a program a long way.
You guys, leading the state in rushing yards right now. Just talk to me about that and you know, why this team runs as much as they do. I know you kind of always favored running as opposed to passing, but talk to me about that and your philosophy on that.
Well, through 8 games, I think we've only been stopped on the opening drive maybe twice, and we come out, we're playing fast. Our kids decided this year they liked it, and I decided to go with it. I went to a wing tee clinic over last year right after Christmas and talked to a guy from North Carolina, and he said, you know, if they can't line up and they don't know where the ball's going, then play faster and watch how really easy it gets. So we try to play fast. And when we find that weakness and we find out how you're going to line up, then there's really, I won't say there's no reason to throw the ball, but you're probably putting yourself at a disadvantage because there's so many things in the wing tee that put a team in conflict. We put a player, he cannot be right. You know, we either run this play or that play, and one of the two ways he's going to be wrong. So what we do is just take turns on picking on whoever we want to pick on and say, okay, you can't be right. And then once we find the weakness, and we just hammer it. And for 8 games, we just, you know, for the most part, been running up and down the field on people. And we throw it when we have to, and I throw it sometimes to keep people off guard. But when you're running it all the time, and, you know, 2nd and 7, you might think about being a passing down, but I'm looking at that maybe as an incompletion. It's 3rd and 7, but if I run it, it's 3rd and 4. If I run it again, it's 4th and 1. We're going, and I'm going to get the first down, and we're going to keep moving the ball. So my very first job was under Dudley Hilton, and we ran the wishbone at Bell County 25 years ago. And I remember Coach Hilton always thinking, you know, don't look at the goal line, look at the first down marker, and just do whatever you can to get a first down and keep getting first downs, and you'll finally run into the goal line. And I've always used that philosophy that we're going to try to get a first down and keep the clock moving and keep the ball in our hands, and a lot of good things are going to happen. Now, what's happened this year, I'm calling the same plays I called last year, and I'm calling the same plays I called 2 years ago. But when you hand it to Dylan Moore and you hand it to Valdon Miles and you hand it to Turner McCollin and you hand it to Donovan Motley and you give it to Jalen Taylor, a lot of times they hand it to the referee and we're kicking an extra point. That ain't anything I'm doing. I just got guys that can absolutely fly this year that are just, you know, clipping off 75 and 80-yard runs, and we're not doing anything different. Dylan ran the last play of the game against Collins. We literally were trying to kill the clock, and I ran fullback dive to the right, and he went 81 yards for a touchdown. That's just Dylan. You know, I got a really good offensive line that knock people down at the line of scrimmage, and Dylan Moore can fly. Those other guys I mentioned are fast, and so we're not doing anything different. We're special in the backfield this year.
I've actually got, for the folks that will be watching later on YouTube, we'll throw some highlights in there too as you're talking about these players, Coach. But speaking of Dylan Moore, we noticed, I mean, nobody cuts it to the outside better than Dylan Moore does. I mean, he has got, it's almost like he goes into an extra speed there, you know, just a big burst of speed that he gets out to that outside line and he's gone.
Right. I have had a lot of guys that are fast. And more so, they're probably quick.
I remember Austin Hager. He was kind of like
Austin's
that.
On my staff now,
Okay.
So we talk about the glory days a lot. But Austin was quick. Cameron Thomas was quick, explosive athlete. But the difference, I think, that separates Dylan from a lot of people is he's track fast. Like, you're talking about a guy that's probably going to win a state championship in the 110-meter hurdle this year. Not to put pressure on you, Dylan. But he absolutely is track fast. And on a weekly basis, I'm watching films, and a defensive back will be at him, and they'll get in the end zone, and Dylan's 8 yards in front of them. I mean, they're not running that dude down. It ain't even close. So he's got another gear that you just don't see very often. Baldon's got another gear. Turner's got another gear. Jalen's got another gear. And then, and then we're coming with Donovan, who's a 230-pound just grown man and big, strong kid. So you mix all that together and you get something special. Dylan's thing when he played fullback for the first time in the spring was I kept having to remind him, the goal line's down there. Quit trying to wiggle and weave. And sometimes on Fridays he winds up taking it wherever he wants to, and that's fine with me because he winds up in the end zone a lot. But he's gotten better every week and has really, really led the team with the rushing yardage. It's been a real pleasure to have him in the backfield.
John?
Coach, you talked about Dylan and Turner and all these guys. Who are some of the guys up front that are blocking?
At center, we got Caleb Peel. He's a returning senior, and he's doing a great job handling the snaps. And I tell the players every week, if you don't get the snap, the play doesn't start, and you're probably going to fumble it, turn it over. And so that's the most important thing in the play is to get it off to the right start. Our left tackle is Jacob Bruner, and he's a senior, big, strong kid. He really worked himself into a starting role over the offseason. Done a great job. And then I've got 4 juniors, which is exciting for the future up front. My left guard is Xavier Estes. We call him X. And our right guard is Caleb Fleckenstein. And with no offense meant towards Coach Kenyon, who played guard for me about 10 years ago, I think these are probably the 2 best guards I've ever had. These 2 guys pull out on the buck sweep, and they absolutely destroy people. I mean, it's a highlight film of just our guards blocking. My right tackle is Jaden Campbell, and I've got a gut feeling that Jaden might be my very first Division I signee. You're talking about a kid that's 6'4", 270, and it's just pancake city. Week after week, this kid is destroying people at the line of scrimmage. And then my tight end is Derek Bocros, who's come a long way and is blocking and doing a great job. So between those 6 up front blocking and the backs taking turns and who gets the ball, it's not real hard to move it. And, when we have to have it, we're getting a push. We've gotten a push against about everybody we've played in most every situation. So I go in knowing we're going to be able to run the ball. And it took me 3 or 4 weeks to finally realize, hey, we're pretty good. We're going to push you. And we just got to figure out how to get it there. The game that really opened my eyes was Paintsville. They were humongous. And I thought on film, we might have finally found a team that we can't push. We ran all over them. And part of it in the wing tee is it's not just you have to knock them down, which that's obviously a benefit, but they can't find the ball. We're faking it to that guy and handing it to this guy, and then we hand it to that one and fake it to that one, and they don't know where the ball's at, so they're guessing. So they play on their heels, and then my big linemen dump them on their backs. So it's been a fun year, and that offensive line's really making it go.
Your biggest win of the season that's not even on your record, though, Coach, is against LCA in the preseason.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. If we had scrimmages in our RPI, we might be leading the state. We scrimmaged E-Town and came away with a win there, if you want to call it that. And then we got LCA, and, of course, they're having a great season. And Coach Charles over there is doing a good job and keeps upsetting people. I think he's going to keep winning games where people are going to quit calling it upset. I mean, if you beat Lexington Catholic and you beat Somerset, then you don't call it an upset. They can beat anybody on their schedule.
What did you guys do? I know it was a scrimmage, and probably not everything was shown out there, but you obviously worked on a lot of stuff in that game. What did you guys do to LCA that nobody else has been able to do so far, except for Belfry?
Well, we're under center, downhill, and people don't see it, and that's one of the reasons Coach Charles over there and I've agreed that they're real good at spread, and they throw the ball really well, and they do a good job with it, and we're really close. Mm-hmm. And both programs get along fine, no animosity or anything. And so they give us the passing defense work that we need desperately that we just can't recreate in our own practices. And they need somebody to just hit them in the mouth and come right at them. And if you look at their schedule, Belfry was the one, and Belfry got under center and came right at them, and we came right at them. And they're not real big. So I think maybe we found their Achilles heel. But in 2019, we're kind of the different duck. Everybody else is spread and doing what they see on Saturdays and Sundays. And when we come in running a 1958 offense, nobody knows what they're doing against it. So
August is really early to have to defend against the wing team.
It is. And I'll tell you something else, too. It takes a lot of discipline. And when it's really hot, those kids, they start to kind of give in a little bit. First drive of the game against LCA, I'll never forget this. They stuffed us. We didn't move it an inch, and they were shooting gaps and hitting us in the backs. We didn't get even a yard. And so my offense came over to me, and I called them over, and I said, look, this scrimmage is going to go a while, and it's really hot. And eventually they're going to quit hitting that gap. They're going to quit being in the backfield, and when they do, these runs are going to start rolling. Second series, we picked up some first downs, and by the third series, we were knocking them backwards and running like we wanted to. And so my line really bought in. The skill side of the ball, started seeing what it was all about at that point. So you kind of got to stay in there with it. And we call ourselves a body puncher. it's not going to be an early knockout. We're just going to keep hammering and hammering and hammering, and eventually you're going to fall.
Yeah, and I think that experience helped LCA too, because in each game where they've come back, I mean, they've been knocked down.
Right.
And it looked like that might be it.
Yeah.
And you give up a 79-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter to give away the lead. You feel like, that might be the end of the ball game.
Yeah.
And they've found some resiliency
right,
and come right back, and that probably started with you guys.
Yeah.
That he's talking about the Grundy catch the other
it was
night.
An amazing catch too.
Yeah, we were talking about the LCA Somerset game.
Yeah,
Grundy.
Good teams. Those two teams don't meet again.
Yeah.
Coach, we talked about the offense. What do we got to do on the defensive side of the ball to get a little better?
Well, we're really fast on defense, and here's part of the problem. We've been playing some good teams. I'm not going to apologize. We held, I think, Franklin County their second lowest total, maybe their lowest total of the season. Paintsville's great. I mean, their quarterback's dynamic. Lincoln County, when we played them, was really hot. I know they've cooled off a little bit lately, but we've played some really good quarterbacks, and then it tends to be tougher for us to work on stopping a passing team when all we see ourselves is a running game. So we're not having a whole lot of trouble with teams that are just running right at us. But any more people are putting you in a spread, and they're putting you in 2x2 and 3x1, and it's not something our kids are really, really comfortable with because, like I said, they don't grow up doing it. We're not real big on defense either, so a lot of times at the point of attack, we're there with an undersized player. So we're not giving up the big, long plays because we're fast enough to recover, but we're kind of getting hit in the face, and there is no answer to it. Your best defensive players, if you look at the state champions, have got 6'2", 210-pound linebackers. I don't have anybody like that. Mine are 5'8" and 200 pounds and can run well, but and my defensive linemen, we've been going with speed to try to get to the quarterback. So we're getting better on a weekly basis. I've seen some improvements, but every week is something different with a different package of stuff, and somebody else is coming at you. And our defense 6 times this year has done enough, and that's all I tell them. Just hold them enough, and if we give up 49 and we get 50, we win. So,
like you said, it's tough too when you have such a big play offense. You score so quick.
Right. We're doing that. We're putting them in a lot of bad situations. With I think in the Madison Southern game we scored on the second play the game. And so we're just going right back out there. It's defense's turn again. And years past we've been more of a methodical running team. And my wife and I, she does the stats for us, and we would laugh at night. In a 48-minute game, we'd have the ball for like 34 minutes. Well, that means your defense only played for 14 minutes. They didn't have much to do. So, but we've been ripping people this year, so I've kind of gone with another approach of, hey, we're going to score and try to put ourselves with some distance between us, and it's been working out.
What do you think about the realignment and how this whole RPI thing is?
Well, I'll start with the root of it. By accident last year, I think in all 6 games, the KHSAA got the 2 best teams in the state in every class in the state finals, and the attendance was way up. People want to see Cinderella in basketball. People want to see the powerhouses in football. I don't know why, but Rupp Arena will sell out if some small school makes it to the Final Four. But if you put that little team playing Covington Catholic in the finals, which Madison Southern did a couple years ago, and hats off to them, but they were Cinderella. But the crowd shows up to see the 2 best teams. And last year, South Warren and Cove Cath played, and they were definite 1-2. Male and Scott County played last year in a 6A game. It was packed. So I think that the KHSAA, from a financial standpoint, saw an opportunity to try to make 1 versus 2 feasible. And I don't know where they came up with the RPI. I personally don't like the inter-district play because there was a scenario that was just in play as of Friday night where we could have played Woodford County, Western Hills, and then played Woodford again. I don't know if that's good. That's not how we play in high school. Maybe the pros are used to playing each other twice, but we come up with a game plan, and we try to pull out the tricks, and we try to win the game, and then we're done with it. We'll see you. And maybe we meet, but if we meet, it's probably going to be in the 3rd round playoffs. But knowing that I'm going to have to turn right back around and play Madison Southern or Collins or West or whoever, and I've just played them, it kind of puts you in a bind of what was I supposed to run the first time? Was I supposed to run trick plays? Was I supposed to run the defense that I think is really going to work? I'm not for it. I think the RPI, too, has had a lot of people pick it apart as far as who's number 1. Right now, I think Kentucky Country Day was number 1.
It is number one because there is a small school bias in the overall by RPI, but our overall RPI doesn't matter. It's class by class.
Right.
But it makes you look at it and go, what is this?
Right. And I think that if there's any system in the state set up right now where Male's not number one and Trinity's not number two, I question that. And I know it's class by class, and it's only going to come into effect in the third round, so there's not going to be many people affected, and hopefully we're one of them. But I would love to see maybe another dynamic put in there that would help kind of sort it out. I don't know that Kentucky Country Day is the number one team in Class A, but the way it says, they're going to be home all the way through. Now, they may not make it, but that kind of makes me scratch my head. And I've seen people move up in RPI for having an open week. I've seen people move up after they lost. I've seen people win and go down. We've had some games on our schedule that we had to play, and our RPI got worse, and there was nothing I could do about it. That's just who I had to play, So it makes it frustrating. And I don't know what the perfect answer is, but I do believe I'm right that the KHSAA wants the two best teams playing in the state finals, and Cinderella doesn't bring tickets to them, and that's their business. They can do however they want to, and we'll have to play the rules they set us up with.
Well, the bias that's involved is if you play a bigger team than that game gets a boost. It gets a 3 or 4 tenths boost on your multiplier there. So smaller teams are going to be incentivized to play weaker, bigger schools.
Right.
You might want to schedule a lot of 6A schools next year.
Yeah,
that can't compete with you.
Right. When you used to go after a smaller school that you thought, well, that'd be a homecoming win, an easy win, or whatever. But I think what people are going to start doing is looking for 5 and 6A ducks that they feel like, okay, that's a big school that I can beat. And then the next thing they're going to look for is obviously teams that have won a bunch of games. So we're all in a learning curve, and who knows how long it'll stay around. I don't know. I've been in it long enough to know that we tried inter-district play in 2006 and 2007, and it went away pretty quick. So who knows how long this will stay around.
Being in 5A this year especially, it's pretty tough because you got some really good 5A teams. Well, you got Covcath, you got Frederick Douglass out there, Scott County. You gotta deal with them. You guys are still kind of, when you talk about that underdog role, you're still considered in that underdog role, even though you got a lot of respect here this season with this running game. But you guys, when they say East Jessamine takes on Douglass or whoever it may be, one of those bigger schools, you're always going to be an underdog role, Coach.
I feel like Kentucky, at University of Kentucky a little bit, and that we can have a great season, but there's still Alabama out there. There's still Georgia out there, and maybe the respect isn't there, and that's okay. We've got to go earn that respect. I understand that. I'm not complaining about that. I do think in the local level within our district, though, I would like to see more respect because our program's earned that. In the last 5 years in regular season district play, East Jessamine 16-3. So that speaks enough for itself that when we play a district football game, we got a really good chance to win it, and records are proven. I'm going over 5 years there. So, we're not there to the mega powers, but we're hopefully still standing on November 22nd, and we'll see what happens. And to be the man, you got to beat the man, as they say in wrestling. So if we can make it that far and we line up and maybe beat one of those teams, then I think it's an eye-opening experience. The same way Kentucky doesn't get the respect that we all think maybe they deserve here because we see them, but when they haven't beaten Georgia and they lose to Florida and they haven't beaten Alabama in 22 years, and it kind of just it's just the bias that happens. This is the way it goes.
Every now and then they do get one of those big wins.
Right, and you got to win one of those big games, and I think going forward too. But as he was mentioned earlier with the RPI, you might be more incentivized to go play one of those teams and take a chance that maybe we weren't when it was just record and random draw. We want to make sure we protected our kids as far as a record and maybe their egos a little bit, but we might want to step outside your comfort zone. Now, I'm not going to apologize for our schedule this year. I think we got a really good schedule. Yeah. Frederick Douglass is Great Crossings is obviously struggling a little bit, but that was kind of expected. But they'll be better next year, and we signed all these contracts for 2 years. So, I'm not going to apologize for who we're playing this year.
And to be fair, in Class 5A, there's only 3 outliers. It's Covington Catholic, Douglass, and Scott County.
Right.
And then everybody else, you can line up and say, I can beat that team.
Yeah, that's the truth. And it just so happens we're all in the East. I don't know. In the West, honestly, we'd have a real shot in the Final Four. And I still think we have a real shot. I really do. Bring them on. I've already seen a loophole where there's a chance we might get Pulaski County in round 3. So you never know. Pulaski County, who would have ever thought Pulaski County would have been in 4 state finals? I saw it happen. I remember in the 80s when they started football, they were our homecoming, and it was a no doubt about it. We're going to beat them as bad as we want. 2006, East Jessamine beat Pulaski County pretty bad. We played them another time and went to the wire. So I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, hey, if they can do it, why can't we do it?
Well, and you as a head coach, you've got experience playing that big team, because it wasn't that long ago when you looked across the field and you had the Boyle County Rebels over there every year.
I've played as a head coach. I've coached against Dale Mueller, who's arguably one of the 3 or 4 best coaches in the state of Kentucky's history. I've coached against Lynn Ray at Covington Catholic multiple times. Gone against Larry French at Boyle County, multiple state champions. I've gone against 2 different coaches at Lexington Catholic with multiple state titles there. So we've played some dogs. I know what it takes to get your team ready to play those teams. You just have to bring a team that's got enough talent to match up with those teams. It isn't going to be an X's and O's or out-schemed or outworked or out-efforted thing. You just got to bring the dogs to the fight. And if you got the dogs and you got a chance. We went to Boyle one year and they wound up winning it all, but we were right in the game because I had some dudes that could play. But, if you play those teams and you're not in their league, then it's not going to be pretty no matter how hard you coach, what plays you call. You got to have the guys to stand in there toe-to-toe with them.
And right now, Covington Catholic is the number 1 team in your class, and Lexington Catholic took them to the wire.
Right.
And a lot of people looked at that game and was like, Covington Catholic can be gotten.
Yeah. If Highlands were to get them, I think it kind of brings everybody back to reality. Who knows? Scott County could beat Frederick Douglass. So we got a lot of football to play before we try to match up and pretend and guess who we're going to play. And hopefully we're in the 3rd round, and we'll just let them tell us who we play then.
Well, we saw that last year when Frederick Douglass beat Scott County in the regular season, and then Scott County beat them in the postseason. And I'm pretty sure that's how the coach over there at Scott County, how he played that regular season game. He didn't show him anything, did he?
No, I talk to him almost weekly. Well, I do talk to him weekly, and we're both wing T guys. We always pick each other's brains, and Jim McKee and I go back a long way. He offered me a job that first year. I told you I was at Bell County, but Jim said they had 2 snaps over the punter's head.
Yeah.
You can't play Frederick Douglass and give them 2 just easy touchdowns on your end of the field. They turned it over on the goal line once. So you take out some things, and it's really crazy in football. When people look at a score, they think, it's a mismatch. You take 2 or 3 plays away from a game, and all of a sudden it's flipped. Instead of being 28-0, if a game is 14-7 at halftime, everybody's mindset's different. I don't care if it's NFL, college, pro, whatever, whatever it is. When you're still in the game and your kids still believe you have a chance, they're going to fight at a different level than looking on the scoreboard and saying, we ain't got no shot. And so if that play that you need in the middle of the game happens in your favor as opposed to happening against you, the game can turn completely. And I've seen it as a coach for me and against me. I've seen teams on film that you're like, well, we should kill this team. But if they don't turn it over 3 times like they've done all year long, then maybe it's a ball game. We played Franklin County in 2013, and we weren't very good. They turned the ball over 7 times, and we beat them to death. And I was like, how is this happening? But they just kept giving us the ball. Their coaches were flabbergasted. Our coaches were flabbergasted. But you get that game again, and if those 2 teams play and, there's not a bad snap or there's not a turnover on the goal line and one kid catches a ball or one kid drops a ball and all of a sudden it's 14-7 in the 4th quarter, you got a different ball game, and pressure probably goes back on Douglas because they're expected to win. The other thing you're fighting with young kids is their parents and their grandparents and the teachers and all their friends going, hey, you're going to kill them. You got it. You're in the bag. You got it. And you start listening to that a little bit, and you're thinking, we're just going to throw our shoes out there, and this is going to be a win. And that's never the case, especially when you play good football teams. They're going to come fight you. And so you got to fight all of those things that I just mentioned, and it's tough. It's going to be tough to beat people twice. We're going to run into the same problem when we get back into district play in the playoffs that I'm going to have to fight against, saying no matter what the first score was, the score right now is 0-0. And I tell my kids that every week before we play. The score of the game is 0-0, and somebody's got to go change the scoreboard.
All right, Coach, we're going to step out just for a minute, take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back. You got to eat anyway.
I got to eat.
Yeah,
it's been dinner time.
But we want you back up here because we're going to start talking about class by class. John Carmichael's got some notes here. I see Coach Truck in the house over there from Big Things Kentucky as well. So Coach Truck in the house, and then Jared Peck still here joining us as well. And we'll be right back here. This is Talking Sports on PrepSpin.
What's your starting 5? How about this one? Mild, hot, Cajun, barbecue, and teriyaki. It's the flavors of Mingy Beef Jerky, each one handmade from Ronnie Mingy's all-natural recipe using top-quality beef. That's what makes Mingy Beef Jerky stand out. Take it from me, Tom Leach. Pick up a package today, and if you don't see it, ask for it. And check them out online at MingyBeefJerky.com. That's MINGUA beefjerky.com. And go there today to see their newest product, Mingy Beef Jerky Meat Sticks in mild, hot, or honey barbecue.
I work really hard, but I'm struggling to pay my bills on time. I've gotten pretty far behind, and I don't know what to do.
Is this happening to you? We're Atkinson, Sims, and Kermode. Bankruptcy could be your best solution.
We're here to give you a fresh financial start.
Start your bankruptcy for as little as $78 now. The consultation is free. In Lexington and now in London.
This is where it all started, right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be for generations to come.
Hi, this is Gary Ball for Crown Trophy of Lexington. Crown Trophy offers youth sports awards, corporate awards. They offer signs and a full line of promotional products. They're located at 2680 Wilhite Drive on the corner of Nicholasville, New Circle Road, just behind Starbucks. Stop by and pick up your copy of our 85-page catalog. Crown Trophy is nationally known, but locally owned with 150 stores nationwide. Crown Trophy, the official provider of plaques for the Scholastic Ball Report and PrepSpin. Folks, this is Gary Ball, and you hear my catchphrase, soup and a sandwich. When I want the best potato soup and prime rib sandwich, I head over to Rafferty's Restaurants after my games. Check out Rafferty's 9 great locations throughout Kentucky, and all you teens, you can eat at Rafferty's before those big ball games. The open prime rib sandwich is what legends are made of. Ask Joe B. Hall, the legend himself, it's his favorite. Rafferty's a big supporter of high school sports throughout Kentucky. Rafferty's, where the special is you.
Did you know, in addition to education assistance, UPS now provides housing for qualified employees? Through the UPS Kentucky Living Options and Opportunities Path, also known as UPS Kentucky Loop, you can work part-time in Louisville, go to school at Jefferson Community and Technical College, and receive housing for up to 2 years. Earn a degree or learn a trade. It's up to you. Loop benefits are available to those who live outside the Louisville metro area, whether you're just starting college or going back to school. It's time to get in the loop. For more information, visit upsjobs.com. That's upsjobs.com.
I work really hard, but I don't make a whole lot of money. And now, my hours are being cut back at work. I've gotten so far behind on my bills, I feel like I'll never get caught up.
We're Atkinson, Sims, and Kermode.
We're not going to judge you.
We've come up with a way to get you started for less.
Start your bankruptcy for as little as $78 now. The consultation is free. In Lexington and now in London.
By the numbers, Whitaker Bank loves the Kentucky communities we serve.
There are 50 Whitaker Bank locations serving Kentucky communities just like mine.
61 Whitaker Bank ATMs throughout Kentucky make getting quick access to cash easy.
Whitaker Bank staff serves the needs of nearly 70,000 Kentucky customers every day.
We share your passion, Kentucky. Love the bank that loves you back. Whitaker Bank is uniquely Kentucky.
I wanted to get back on the basketball court.
I want to get back to the ref I used to be.
I want to get back to gardening.
I want to get back to playing with my band.
Only one team is qualified to get patients back to living their lives. Bluegrass Orthopedics has physician experts to assist in your recovery, whether it's an injury or chronic condition. Bluegrass Orthopedics provides convenient, specialized, and comprehensive care for your unique life.
The future of healthcare seems dark at times, but for patients in Kentucky with diagnostic imaging needs, there's a place with clarity and a compassionate staff. Lexington Diagnostic Center and Open MRI provides quality patient care while saving you hundreds to thousands of dollars as compared to hospital-based centers. Remember, for your medical imaging needs, you have a choice. Lexington Diagnostic Center and Open MRI.
We're out here, heart and soul.
But you can't see us.
If girls don't see women in sport, they won't stay in sport. They won't learn that
we can call the shots. We are stronger together.
The world is ours for the taking.
She belongs on the track, the field, the ice, and on the court.
Give her visibility so she sees how unstoppable she is, and she'll break barriers.
Uh-oh, where are the girls? Uh-oh, where are the girls? Uh-oh, where are the girls? Woo!
High school sports have evolved thanks to PrepSpin. Tonight, catch all the hard-hitting action live and in real time as the game happens in 1080p HD video. Join us tonight for the Mingy Beef Jerky High School Football Game of the Week with the legend Gary Ball, Coach Mike Meehan, and the king of stream, William Moorfield. Nobody does high school football like PrepSpin does. The Mingy Beef Jerky High School Game of the Week comes your way now.
All right, we are back here live at Zaxby's in Nicholasville, Kentucky. William Moorfield alongside John Carmichael. We got Turner McCollin and Dylan Moore in the house right now. And Turner, we'll start with you, man. Talk to me about this team. And I know we've interviewed you, on the PrepSpin broadcast. We've been over at you guys' field a couple times already this season. But just talk to me why everybody, because we got a little bit of different audience, and plus we got a live audience here tonight as well. But talk to me about this East Jessamine team.
We're just disciplined. We might be small, we're fast, and we're all working hard every day just to get what we want to get to. And we understand that we're underdogs, but that just fuels us.
Dylan, what's your thoughts on this team?
I'd honestly say the same thing. We're faster than everybody, and I think that gives us a leg up when we play people because we may not have big guys, but we're fast and we hit hard. So that makes up for our size, and it gives us a leg up when we're playing these bigger teams with 90 kids.
John?
You guys are having a great year, and you put a lot of hard work into the season. But let's go back a little further to the off season, because that's what leads to a great season. So what did you guys do in the off season coming into your senior year?
Well, we do what we've done since we were freshmen. We just come in there, lift, work hard. We went to a bunch of camps this summer, like a bunch of players did, even some underclassmen, we just took, obviously Coach Bowen's a great coach, but learning from bigger college groups is always good too. And I'm sure he does the same thing a lot. And just working hard every day, no matter what it is, whether it's our cone drills or weightlifting or throwing drills, catching, whatever it is, we just work hard.
Dylan, what's it like playing for Coach Bowen?
It's been awesome. I don't know. I think the best thing about it is I get to play fullback and we run the ball a lot, so I get to get the ball a lot, so I get to have a lot of fun. I don't know. It's great. He's a great coach.
So we mentioned earlier about that extra burst of speed that you got out there, and I wasn't aware that you were on the track team too.
Yes, sir.
I don't know why I didn't know that, but I probably should have known that, knowing your dad, especially on Twitter so much.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so, I mean, talk to me about that, because we've seen a couple other track stars on some other football teams, but I don't think nobody quite hits that outside corner like you do.
Well, yeah, I've been running track since freshman year, and I started out, I wasn't really, I've always been kind of fast, but I wasn't really as fast as everybody else, and we've just, me and Turner have been working in the off season ever since then, and lifting and going early in the mornings when other people aren't working, and I've gotten a whole lot faster. And last year I placed second in the 300-meter hurdles, right behind Zion, which I should have won, but whatever. I'm not bitter or anything. And I got fifth in the 110-meter hurdles, and even our relay team that me, Turner, and a couple other guys were on, we got sixth in the state. So
Turner, you running track too?
Yes, sir. I ran it since freshman year too.
Really? Where have I been at, man? I guess because we don't really cover track on PrepSpin, because that's actually one of the very few sports that we don't cover. I mean, we'll tweet out every now and then, state stuff, but we don't really keep up with it every day. But you guys are in a great position, because your principal over there at East Jessamine, one of your principals, he actually runs the track site, the big website.
He runs Mile Split, yeah.
Yeah, so what's it like going to a school where that guy's at?
Well, it's really cool, because when we go to state, any of the events we're doing, even if one of our teams really isn't ahead or anything, he'll commentate on East. You'll hear him say East Jessamine 6 times in the race when he's just saying the other team a couple
even
other
if we're
times.
not first.
Yeah,
he's just right in there.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
So we talked about you guys playing for Coach Bowen and having a great season this year, running the ball and stuff. But is there any times you get out there and you just know that somebody's not going to catch you? I mean, do you have that kind of confidence where if you turn that corner, nobody's going to catch you?
Yeah, sometimes. Usually when I turn the corner and I get around somebody to where I don't see them, I just try not to look at them and try not to think about where they're at.
Just kind of got your blinders on?
Yeah, I just look straight and I just forget that they're behind me and just keep going. And, if they catch me, they catch me, but they usually don't. So.
And it works out a lot. When people are watching the video broadcast version of this, we'll have highlights of you running the ball. And you guys, you got several guys on this team that can run the ball. I think Coach Bowen named off about 5 of them. So, there's a lot of weapons. Back in the day when we did a ton with East Jessamine, when we were starting out as a network, I think, he had Cameron Thomas and Austin Hager, and that was about it, But I guess the more weapons. Who?
Seth Hunt.
Seth Hunt, yeah. I forget about Seth Hunt, too, yeah. Seth Hunt was a big guy and played with both sides of the field. So, do you guys enjoy all this talk about you guys right now? Because I think everybody has kind of figured out that you guys are good.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been awesome getting all the media coverage on us, because it's something we haven't really. We've always kind of had that, but this year especially, it's been awesome because we've got a ton of publicity just from you guys and being on the news.
Well,
stuff.
you got Big Things Kentucky in the house tonight.
Things, yes, sir.
He talks about you every week. He says, "Bring them Pauls, baby. Bring them Pauls."
Yes, sir.
So Coach Truck over there, he's a good guy, and they got a good show. So subscribe to that if you haven't already on YouTube. But and Coach Truck, he's going to do a lot of stuff with us coming up too. I think on this podcast and things like that, kind of liven it up because I'm too tired for you, right, Coach? I worked this week, man. But so Turner, when did you become a really good quarterback? I know this year your numbers are outstanding, but when do you think was a turning point where you kind of figured it all out?
Well, my freshman year I came into high school and I was not prepared. I hadn't practiced, I hadn't worked that hard, and then that carried over into sophomore year, and I had shoulder surgery that year too, so that kind of set me back a little bit. But junior year, whenever I finally got the chance again and show how I could play, I tried to take advantage of it, and I didn't do my best I could, especially the first game we were struggling. We were playing Taylor County, and they're a really good team. But this summer I worked really hard because I know that I was behind on recruiting and stuff. And so me and Dylan set out, and we went to the gym at 6 a.m. every morning, no matter what it was. We would stay after and throw, run at the track, whatever it was. And I think this summer, going to all those college camps and getting advice from people who had played in like upper levels of football, teaching me how to like mechanics and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think the first time I really noticed that, man, this guy's got a really great arm was you put out a highlight on Twitter earlier, before the season started, and it was from one of those camps. I think you were at Western Kentucky, maybe.
The one that you like retweeted and talked about first was the Indiana one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that's that pass that you had thrown out there. I was like, man, this guy can really throw the ball, and I didn't expect that. I'll be honest, I didn't expect that from you, but it was proof that you had worked really hard over the summer trying to, get stronger. And I think bowling, that's one of the big things that he does is, get you guys in the weight room and get you in shape, conditioning.
Yeah. Conditioning, we run conditioning almost every day, even in season. We got these things called NFL tests. They aren't very fun, but
and jingle jangles too.
Yeah,
jingle jangles are lots of fun.
What's that?
It's like 40 yards down and 40 yards back, and we usually do 10 of them every Monday.
Yeah. Wow. After lifting.
Like in the NFL, quarterbacks and running backs, they can think they're the blockers, the linemen. They can buy them jet skis, like Baker does in that little Hulu commercial. You can buy those guys jet skis. But here I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to thank those. Let's call them the big uglies up front, to thank those guys, to give them some love right here.
Yeah, we love our linemen. They are the ones that keep us going. So we all might not, somebody false starts or something, we argue for a second, but we know those are the guys protecting us, so we need to be pretty nice to them.
Yeah, we
two of them over there.
Who are these guys that we got here tonight?
We got Caleb Peel, he's a starting center, and Jaden Campbell, one of our tackles.
All right, so we'll get those guys on here in just a second and give them some of that love there, John, because I know you were a big defensive guy, and you like the whole defensive
I like to smack
thing.
people around. It might not look like it now, but back in the day. But I love to thank those guys because they put in the hard work. And hot days, it's tough on a big guy.
Yeah, there's some days where like we'll be doing like special teams, and obviously a lot of the linemen aren't really on special teams because they're big and slow. Let's be real. and so they're over there while the other guys who aren't on special teams, we're sitting there taking a knee. They're still out there working, and so I got a lot of respect for the linemen. And even though we give them a hard time, all the plays start with them. Nothing happens without them.
For the people out there who want to know more about you guys, who do you like in the NFL, and who do you really look up to?
For me,
you go first.
I'll go ahead. Okay. For me, I like Tariq Cohen because he's just a little short guy, but he's a beast. He can move around like nobody else. So that'd probably be the guy who I try to make my game look like.
And who does he play for?
I don't even know he plays for Ryan. I know he plays for the Bears. He still
does,
plays for the Bears.
Yeah.
Still the Bears.
Yeah.
David Montgomery's taking all of his reps. But I'd say I love Patrick Mahomes, obviously. That's about everybody loves Patrick Mahomes. He's a beast. He's creating plays left and right all the time. And I'd say Russell Wilson, too, because he can run and pass both, and he's short like me for a quarterback, 5'11" guy.
So, Russell Wilson's first professional game ever was at the Lexington Legends?
Was it really?
Yeah. So he's in the baseball, yeah. So his first professional game ever was against the Lexington Legends.
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
It's a fact.
You guys, you're having a great year. What goals do you have left? What do you want to reach this year?
I think we can speak for everybody else. We just want to make it as far as we can. We want to make it to state. That's been our goal since freshman year. We've been a pretty promising class, and we're just trying to get as far as we can because we've never played past the first or second week in November, and we really want that. I think that's what everybody's striving for.
Yeah, we want to be different. Nobody's in East Jessamine's ever made it to the third round of the playoffs, and we want nothing more than that. We want to go. We think we're different, and we've always thought that, and we work hard. I feel like harder than a lot of other classes that we've seen growing up since freshman. I feel like we work a lot harder, and I think that Coach Boland's put us in a really good position. So
I'm going to throw this out there because I know the spotlight is on you and your team, but your brother Brady, I was got Brody on my mind. Brady over here, which happens to be my nephew, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but Brady's my nephew. He's helping you guys out on the sideline this year. What does that mean to you, Turner?
It's pretty cool. He tried to play football when he was little, and he didn't like it. So he said he wanted to come out here and do something, but he didn't want to play. So I said, Chelsea can always use some help. So that's what he's doing now.
Yeah. Brady, what do you think, man? Come on up here. We're gonna talk to him. Let him squeeze in here with you, Turner.
Come on.
Talk to me, Brady. What does it mean to be on the sidelines? Your big brother's a star quarterback, and you're out there keeping the team, rehydrated and all that good stuff.
It's fun. It's fun. Everyone's like my friend, and it's just fun knowing that everyone on the team likes me and enjoys me, and I get to make new friends every day.
You're a big freshman this year. What do you think of the new school?
It's fun.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Brady's a big-time gamer. So and the e-gaming is now a sport. It's an official sport in high school. Do you have any plans to do that?
I want to.
Have you found out any information about it yet?
Not really.
You ought to, man, because it's actually they got state championships for it now.
I know.
So we'll look into that. We'll get you some information on that. But it's always good seeing you, man. That's cool that your brother's part of the team and helping you guys out there too. We're going to step out just for a second, take a quick commercial break. We'll get a couple more guys in here. Do you guys got anything else you want to say out there while we got you on? Go Jags.
Yeah, I'll just say that everybody just check us out. Everybody, watch our season. We're having a good season. We're going to continue to have a good season. So,
Coach Truck, come up here, man. I'm going to get Coach Truck up here real quick because I know he's a big fan of you guys.
I was going to say also, I see all these top 10 rankings coming out every week, and our teammates will be like, why aren't we on there yet? And I'm like, I don't want to be on there. I love flying under the radar. We always have, and it's fun. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, we kind of touched on that a little bit with Coach Boland earlier, talking about, Coach, I mean, it's just because you're East Jessamine right now. You haven't beat those big schools yet, but you will.
I think Jared actually put you guys in his top 10, right, Jared? Yeah, top 10 this week.
We've gotten close twice. Pageville and Franklin.
Yeah,
two really good teams. Franklin's like top 15 in the state now.
Yeah, didn't we get like 5 votes for the top 10 this week?
I have no idea.
Well, when you start picking up a few here and there, that means people got you on their mind pretty heavy.
Yes, sir.
So you're not too far off from that. You guys get a win against Woodford County this week, and maybe next time the poll comes out, we'll see. But we're going to step out just for a minute. We'll have a couple more players join us, and again, we're live here at Zaxby's in Nicholasville. Nice little crowd here tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming out as well. And
let's give these guys a hand.
This is where it all started, right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be, for generations to come.
some things never change. Like the sound of pads crushing against the equipment, the feel of cleats on fresh-cut grass, or the deep rest from a full practice. Another thing that never changes, the feeling of relief when the whistle blows for break. And the savory snack to go along with it. This is a moment to remember. This is a Mingy moment.
I'm on a fixed income. Credit cards help me balance the money that's coming in and what I need to live on. I've thought about bankruptcy, but how am I supposed to pay for it?
Sometimes the people that need help the most are the very people who can least afford it.
We've come up with a way to get you started for less.
Start your bankruptcy for as little as $78 now. The consultation is free. In Lexington and now in London.
I work really hard, but I'm struggling to pay my bills on time. I've gotten pretty far behind, and I don't know what to do.
Is this happening to you? We're Atkinson, Sims, and Kermode. Bankruptcy could be your best solution.
We're here to give you a fresh financial start.
Start your bankruptcy for as little as $78 now. The consultation is free. In Lexington and now in London.
By the numbers, Whitaker Bank loves the Kentucky communities we serve.
Whitaker Bank supports 496 Kentucky schools.
Over 282,000 students benefit from Whitaker Bank's Kentucky education initiatives.
Whitaker Bank has contributed almost $441,000 to education programs for the advancement of Kentucky's youth.
We share your passion, Kentucky.
Love the bank that loves you back.
Whitaker Bank is uniquely Kentucky.
We are back here live at Zaxby's in Nicholasville, Kentucky. You got a little feedback there, Chan. All right, so we are be joined here, Coach Truck of Big Things Kentucky. Coach Truck, give a shout out to your weekly blog.
Oh man, we saw Big Things Kentucky every Thursday. We cover high school sports in the local area. We showcase every game and pick the winners and just have an enjoyable show.
You guys are fun to watch, by the way. I know I told you that during halftime at the LCA game the other night, but you guys are really fun to watch. I need to do one of those shows with you guys sometime. So we got Jaden Campbell, who's a right tackle for East Jessamine, and then we got Caleb Peel, who's the center for East Jessamine. And guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, so we'll start with Jaden. Jaden, talk to us about your role on the team.
Man, I'm just the big man. I'm trying to do my thing and make our team and our line 10 times better, make our right side the best.
What class are you in this year?
I'm a junior.
Junior? Wow.
2021,
okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Go ahead. You were talking about your role.
Me and my right guard, Peck, we always have this saying right side dominates, and we always dominate no matter what.
All right, Caleb, talk to me.
I just got to do my job and get the ball to Turner.
Yeah.
And just do my role. That's about it.
So, I mean, which is an important role because you're snapping the football and, obviously you got a big responsibility there. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, Coach Bowen drills it into our head there. Just hold the ball, and keep it as long as we can.
Coach Truck, I know you're a big defensive guy. What do you got for us and for these guys?
Man, the biggest thing I know when we first went down there to talk to them, Coach Bolin talked about his linebacker, senior Cameron Seeger. And we call him He Seeger, man. That kid, he's been playing since he was a freshman. He's tough. I just enjoy watching him play, man. He goes after him, and he handles business, man. They're tough. They're gritty. It's been a real nice season watching these guys. I'm glad we were invited down there to cover them.
John?
Guys, how special is it when you got some teammates or playmakers like Turner and Valdon and Dylan to block for those guys? What does it mean to you?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Man, it feels good because you see we do all the dirty work and then we keep them clean and fresh. Like every time Val or like Turner gets messed up or Dylan, I always come up to him and be like, picture perfect clean. We got to keep y'all clean and keep it moving and always help them up.
So that's why Turner's always so clean, man. He's kind of like he could model for Sears catalog or something, couldn't he?
Yes, sir. I always try to keep him clean.
We try. And I think our biggest thing is it makes us look really good. But with those guys back there, it's so much easier on us.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about all this recognition you guys are starting to get? Everybody's starting to figure out East Jessamine is really good.
Dang, it's finally we've been needing it.
Kind of putting it back on the map. I know Coach Bolin's had it on the map in the past. We talked about that 2010 team, but you guys are really starting to put it back out there for everybody.
Yes, sir. We deserve it. We've been working real hard during off season and stuff, and this is what we need, and we just need to keep building off of that.
Coach Truck, you guys talk about them quite a bit on your show.
Yes, sir. Like I say, they like to put them paws on them, man. They've been running through their district, looking to lock it up this weekend, man. It's been really enjoyable watching the Jaguars do what they do.
You mentioned Woodford County. That's next up. You got any predictions for this Woodford County game?
No, sir. All I do is do my job. That's all I worry about is my job.
Caleb?
It'll be a good game.
I was hoping one of y'all would go, pain. Lots of pain.
Oh, yeah, always.
We'll
that's something. I don't have to mention that because that's expected.
Coach Truck, I got to ask you, because a lot of people over here know that sometimes you pick against them, even though you're the biggest fan. Sometimes you pick against them on some of them weeks on your show. What are you going with this week?
Man, y'all gonna have to watch Thursday, but I'm all in for my Jaguars. As I say, we winning, we riding. Let's go, Jags.
Do we got him a shirt yet? Does he got an East Jessamine shirt yet?
I got one.
You got one?
Yeah, I do.
We'll get you one.
All right. So we got to make sure you got that East Jessamine shirt on for your Thursday recording of your show.
So y'all gonna win, man?
Huh?
I just want to know, y'all gonna put them paws on them? Sure. We got them in the cage, man. They come in the cage and they don't leave out. You know what I'm saying? When they come in there, there's nowhere to run. Coach lines up, we run right at them and rawr, you know what I'm saying?
What do you guys think about Coach Truck and his support of you guys?
It's comedy. It's big inspiration.
Comedy?
Big inspiration.
It's awesome, yeah.
Yes,
John?
I think you guys, it's going to be a tough game, but I look for you guys to come out on top unless they run Dennis Johnson, the coach, out on the field. He was playing varsity football in the 3rd grade. It's true.
He kind of old.
He's over there.
He's probably too old now.
He was over there for Harrisburg, wasn't he? Was it old Harrisburg?
Played at Harrisburg in UK.
Yeah. Wow. So, guys, anything else you want to add on about the Woodford County game and then about the season?
I want to say for the linemen, it's pancaking season.
Pancake season, yes, sir.
Caleb?
It's just going to be a good game. Come
All right.
out, show some support.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll get a couple more Jags in here. Who else do we got that we want to talk to?
Not on Nick.
Come on up, man.
We got to get the model, man. Get the model.
And Caleb, yeah, you can't forget about our wide receiver over there.
Who do we got? Come on, man. Come on. We'll let them set where you guys are setting, so we'll rotate them out.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that.
Coach, you can stay. You can stay.
Get to stay with my Jags.
Well, there goes Carl's voice.
I know you like, man, I should have been player of the week a couple times. You ain't going to say nothing, no?
It's all good.
So So let's talk right. Who do we got here?
Valdon Miles.
Valdon Miles, and you're somebody on Facebook. Barbara, is it Barbara?
Yes.
She got the same last name as me. Are we kin?
I don't know.
I gotta find that out because there might be a possibility there. Because Warfield's not really a common name, you know.
She's from London.
Okay.
So up near there.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Try to get close to the mic, guys, when we're up here. So we got Miles and we got who else?
Nick Leonard.
Nick Leonard. And talk to us about your all's roles on the team and what position you play. What class you're in too.
We're the class of 2020, and I'm the outside linebacker.
I'm the running back, the halfback, number 12.
Yeah, we've called your name quite a bit on the broadcast. What do you think about that?
I love it. I love it.
So you got one of those, you're one of those 5 guys that Coach Boland talks about. You know, you able to run the ball and pick up that yardage. And again, you guys, one of the top teams in the state, the top team in the state in rushing.
Absolutely. We really take pride in that.
Are you a track star too?
Yes, I do run track as well.
Coach, man, you went recruiting the track team this year. That's what it is. This guy's got all the track guys out here. Talk to me, man. What do you think?
I mean, to have people like Valdon, Turner, Dylan, JJ, and all of them on the offense, it just makes us defensive players' job a lot easier. All we got to do is just go out, force a punt or get a turnover or anything like that, and then as long as they keep putting up their points, we're just going to keep winning.
John?
Let's see, Valdon, you got you're averaging about 115 yards a game, I believe.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man.
Yes, sir. I take pride in that. It all starts from the line and them doing their jobs and everybody getting key blocks and defense putting up stops and getting the ball back for us. Absolutely.
You and Turner, you guys compete about doing the modeling thing. I was just curious because both of you guys are kind of both look like the pretty boys on the team.
It's funny because the freshman year we all get nicknames from our upperclassmen and usually coaches as well. And Coach Bowling actually came up with McDreamy for Turner. And so we've been calling him McDreamy ever since. So,
Coach Truck?
Man, I just want to know, Valdon, do you have a favorite play? Like, is there a play where you come up, you hear that play in the huddle, and you're like, yeah, this my joint?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't want to say it, but, yeah, we've ran this pretty much the same offense all up through middle school and even before then in Pee Wee and stuff like that. I didn't play with a lot of these guys in Little League, but it's, same base play, wing tee. And we love that play, and even our guards and linemen, when they hear the call, they get after it, each and every play.
So you guys are playing on the new turf field, and we haven't touched on that yet. But we'll obviously talk with that with Coach Boland again. But how does that turf feel for this season? How does that feel for you guys?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I will say that. When we went up to Collins, I got a few turf burns because that turf was a lot different than ours.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the people that built in the funds and everything that went into it.
Yeah, you guys got you guys ended up getting the good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the real good stuff on your all's field.
Best.
Yeah, matter of fact, I think there's only a couple of those fields that are out there. I think it was modeled after Douglas's field, wasn't it, Coach?
Was it that was made for a pro team?
Yeah, for the Kentucky Wildcats. It's the same stuff that the Kentucky Wildcats got down on their field. John?
Guys, what does it mean not to lose to your crosstown rival your entire high school career?
The best feeling ever. It's so good. God, it's so great.
It's like everybody talks about it as it's like the Super Bowl. We always look forward to it each and every year, and we can't wait for after one season to look forward to the next season of playing them each and every year.
So, yeah, and it used to be a big rivalry, didn't it, Coach? I mean, you had the crosstown rivalry. It used to be the game that I know when we first started out doing the CKY sports stuff, I mean, that was like our big thing, and we built it up like that as far as, you're going toe-to-toe with West Jessamine, but it's not the case no more. I mean, your big rivalry, who would that be now, Coach? Because then it turned to Boyle County, and then who is it now? Madison Southern, yeah.
Absolutely. absolutely.
And you guys got a big win against Madison Southern the other night, or 2 weeks ago.
I even feel that Lincoln County, in the past couple of years, they've stepped up, and every time we go down there, they come up here. It's always usually a really good game, and that's who we look forward to playing.
Yeah, Lincoln County, the Patriots, sir. And going down there, and that's where you all went to beat them, right? You beat them down in Death Valley is what they call it.
In overtime, absolutely, yep.
That's a hard place to win.
You mentioned that rival. Remember we had that, whatever happened to the Jim Ed Shear Trophy?
That was the visitnick.com bowl or visitjessamine.com bowl. Yeah. Yeah, so that's when they gave it out for the star of that game.
I remember the first time we did that, remember it was that big mudder.
Yeah.
I was out on the field and just covered in mud. It rained that night. I remember it was horrible.
We got some stories to tell about those mud bowls, don't we, Coach? I remember a Western Hills game one time and then a Boyle County game, but it was, man, I tell you, that was some of the dirtiest football. I mean, as far as you going home and you're throwing a jersey away, you can't wash it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you guys still have a sledgehammer you carry around? Yeah, okay, yep. All right. I remember you got a little trouble down in Boyle County or something happened down there.
Did they hit the bell? Was that what it was? Was it the bell?
Coach don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk. Hey, there still might be a crack in that bell, right? All right, guys, we're going to take a break. Is anybody else? Are we missing anybody else that wants to get on? Anybody?
Caleb Smith, one of our wide receivers.
Okay, yeah, let's get Caleb on, and then we'll get Coach Bolin to close it out here in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
What's your starting five? How about this one? Mild, hot, Cajun, barbecue, and teriyaki. It's the flavors of Mingy Beef Jerky, each one handmade from Ronnie Mingy's all-natural recipe using top-quality beef. That's what makes Mingy Beef Jerky stand out. Take it from me, Tom Leach. Pick up a package today, and if you don't see it, ask for it. And check them out online at MingyBeefJerky.com. That's MINGUA BeefJerky.com. And go there today to see their newest product, Mingy Beef Jerky Meat Sticks in mild, hot, or honey barbecue.
I work really hard, but I'm struggling to pay my bills on time. I've gotten pretty far behind, and I don't know what to do.
Is this happening to you? We're Atkinson, Sims, and Kermode. Bankruptcy could be your best solution.
We're here to give you a fresh financial start.
Start your bankruptcy for as little as $78 now. The consultation is free. In Lexington and now in London.
This is where it all started, right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be, for generations to come.
All right, back here at Zaxby's in Nicholasville, William Morfield alongside John Carmichael. We got Coach Truck in the house. We got Coach Mike Bolin, and we got Caleb Smith in the house. And Caleb, talk to us about your role on the team and how things are going for you this season.
Well, I play wide receiver, and it's no secret that we don't pass the ball a lot. But I mean, I see my job on the team is just doing whatever I can to give us the best shot to win. And if that's blocking play after play for all our running backs, and that's me doing my job, and I'm happy with that.
You're a pretty tall guy. Do you have any thoughts about playing on the basketball team?
Yeah, I've played the past 2 years for high school for East Jessamine, and I'm going to after football season's over. So
Yeah. So what's it like being a dual sport athlete?
It's interesting. I always got something to do. I don't really don't have time for a lot of stuff outside of practice.
So what's some of the things that you enjoy off the field?
Well, just hanging with my family and friends, and that's a big part of my life, and just chilling at home.
Yeah, Coach, while we got you up here with Caleb, why don't you talk about him and what's he mean to your team?
He came out just this year. He went through our weight program a year ago and wound up not playing. His brother Aaron was our starting tight end last year, and so I've got a good relationship with his family. He's got a really, really good family. Older brother obviously played for us. So talked him into playing this year. He went through spring practice, and after we threw the ball around in spring, and it didn't take long to figure out he's got good hands, very, very intelligent, and the learning curve, it wasn't so insurmountable that he couldn't play for us. But Caleb's about 6'3.5", 6'4", and even if we don't throw it a lot, he presents a problem out there that people have to go out there and guard him, and and sometimes they have to double cover him, and when they do that, it just kind of sets our other part up. But he has made some phenomenal catches that are stats that kind of slide into a game that you may not notice. You may notice Valdon went for 135 yards, or Dylan went for 200, but you don't remember that Caleb Smith caught one for 13 yards that got a first down in the middle of the third quarter that kept the drive alive, or that he made a great block and popped an 80-yard touchdown. And so he's one of those guys that's kind of not getting a lot of accolades, but a huge, huge part of our football team.
He's that extra guy that you can go to when you need to, that can make that big play like you just said, Coach. And that's pretty important to have on the team, because everybody's looking at those five guys you're talking about, and he's kind of your bailout guy, right?
Yeah. We got in a long down situation against Southern that he made a big catch in that game and really, really helped us kind of keep the momentum going. And we were in a track meet back and forth, both teams scoring, so you didn't want to give the ball up. You had to score, and every time it was your possession, and he came up with a huge play. So he's had some big catches for us this year and got another year left. So this is one of the guys I'm looking for next year to be a bigger weapon and a bigger threat when all these other guys graduate.
We talked with some of the guys about the new turf field over there. It looks really good on TV, by the way.
Yeah, it looks good on video every week too. So the things that you get out of the turf field, you just don't even think about. Like, we're supposed to have a storm tomorrow, and there's a really good chance that we're going to have a JV game against Mercer County, but instead of playing it over there on their grass field, they've already called and said, can we move it to your place to play on your turf field? So we might get to stay at home. It looks like we're going to tomorrow for a JV game. We go to practice and your lines are perfect, and you can say, okay, we're going to run on this line, we're going to use this 5-yard mark. It adds up over time, just stuff you don't even think about. We're very appreciative that the Board of Education put the funding together, and that our superintendent got it together, and that we've got a turf field. Really excited about it.
Caleb, what do you think about the field?
Well, I didn't know what it was like to play without a turf field. So, I mean, it's definitely nice, and keeps your clothes a lot cleaner and everything. So that's a nice addition. That's about it.
Well, the guys were talking about going on the road and playing, on the road on a different turf field that wasn't up to par like you guys is with the new turf field. But you're really playing on a college turf field is what you're playing on. A big difference, right?
Yeah, it's easy to make cuts. You can definitely feel it when you're playing on it. That it's got a difference to it, and I think it just makes playing the game a lot easier.
Yeah, John.
Caleb, the coach mentioned about blocking, the way you wide receivers block downfield. What does it feel? What do you feel when you make one of those blocks that frees Turner, Dylan, or Valdon?
I mean, it's definitely rewarding. It feels good when you get a good block, definitely. But I mean, it's just part of what I do, and that's my job. So, yeah.
Coach Truck, you got anything for Caleb?
Man, I just want to know, do you come into the game and you're like, Coach, man, run the reverse? Coach, just one time.
I don't know. I don't really necessarily go and say, run this play. I just, I always do what I'm told, and that's all.
Hey, he's a junior. I'll get to run the reverse next year when he's a senior. It's coming. It's coming.
He comes to the side. I'm hoping, Coach.
Coach, we haven't talked about your special teams. You got a pretty good kicker, don't you?
Yeah, we've actually got two real good kickers. They both were soccer kids. Cameron Shilfarth is a sophomore who's been kicking with the JV. He's done a good job and actually kicked off for us a little bit this year. But then John Alverson's our junior kicker. And John, I don't know, he's missed only a couple kicks this year. A lot of that's just been on some other things he couldn't control. But John's done a phenomenal job. We went to the the Collins game, and he was hurt. He hurt his hip flexor in soccer, and so we couldn't kick off with him. But he was still steady on the extra points. And then we let Cameron Seeger kick off for us. But it's been a huge weapon to just know that your extra point is automatic, because by this time, most years, 8 games in, I've probably gone for 2 50% of the time or more. And every week you're scratching your head thinking, okay, what's the 2-point play this week? And we still have one, but I'm only using one, as opposed to some years I was using, we scored 5 times and go five times and go for 2 just because your kicker couldn't do it and you knew it. So, but John Alverson and Cameron Shilfarth both are just, they're pretty much automatic. It's been a real big relief and helping our confidence as far as we know we're going to get 7 right here.
All right, we got class by class, and we're gonna get Jerry Peck to slide in where you're at, and then we're going to talk about class by class. Thanks for joining us, by the way. And John, I know you got some notes over there that we'll talk about here.
Yeah, William. I guess we'll start at 1A. I mean, Coach, what do you think? I mean, y'all mentioned Kentucky Country Day and how the RPI, but the Pikeville Panthers, they were in the championship game last year, and they're looking pretty good.
They just put the wood hazard.
Yeah, that was kind of a shocking score. I don't think anybody's shocked that Pikeville won. Chris McNamee is the head football coach at Pikeville, and he and I played for 2 years together at EKU in the 90 and 91 season. And his senior year, we went to the semifinals of the national championship. Chris, a good friend of mine, we coached together in 2015 on the Kentucky All-Star team. They're doing a great job, and just because he's my friend, I'm pulling for them. I think Paintsville, when they get healthy and get everybody back, will be a force to be reckoned with. And as crazy as it sounds, they're sitting right next to Pikeville, but they actually could play each other in the state championship. I think like 23 miles between the two schools, but the way it's set up now, where you play in your own district and they're not in the same district together, those two could play in the state championship together, which would be odd. But as I mentioned earlier in the show, they're looking for the 2 best teams. They might be the 2 best. I'd say Pikeville's probably 1. Paintsville's probably hanging around 2, maybe 3. But it'll be interesting.
And they played each other earlier, and it was a close game.
Yeah, it was a 1-point game. We played them the week after, so we got that film. It was 9-8. It really came down to Pikeville made a field goal, and Paintsville missed one, and that was the ball game.
A team that's turned it around is Aaron Stepp's team over in Berea.
Yeah, I'm from Richmond, so I grew up pulling against the Berea Pirates every year. We never played them in football when I was at Madison Central, but Coach Stepp and I've known him for a long time, and it's a heartwarming story. I'm glad Berea's having some success. Small community that's hung in there for years and years, when I'm sure a lot of people were like, why don't you just close the doors? And you never know how far a successful football season will go to keeping a community rallied together and keeping a school open.
Yeah, and they had a 2-touchdown lead on Eminence last week, and it just got away from them. But they can compete this year, that's for sure.
Big game this weekend, too. Eminence and Kentucky Country Day.
Yeah,
they play.
Yeah, that's an RPI war there. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
You got Frankfurt and Berea, too, in Class 1A.
Yeah,
play.
Yeah, Frankfurt, they've been kind of down, even though I think they were picked at the top this season.
They have been snake bit. I know some friends. I've got some real good friends that work over there, and injury bug, I think, hit Frankfurt.
All right, Class 2A, guys.
I'm a homer. I'm a Breathitt County Bobcat. I married a Breathitt County girl. I coached there for 3 years. Mike Holcomb is my mentor. I'm going with Breathitt. I know Mayfield's loaded. There are other schools out there that are really good, but I know Breathitt is absolutely packed this year with talent. The Collins kid that they got back home, he's been to 3 different schools, but he's back in Breathitt County. I think and I know I'm right on this, they're 8-0 with 8 running clocks, and they'll probably finish the season with 10 running clocks. Their RPI is not going to come in very high. They're probably going to have to go be road warriors in the playoffs, but Breathitt County is stacked this year.
I like Lexington Christian. I just put them, I leapfrogged them up to number 1 in my poll. I just can't pick against them. They've been too resilient against too many good teams this year. They've taken on all comers. The only team that's beat them is Belfry. A lot of good teams have lost to Belfort.
Yeah, I opened mine with I'm a homer. I can't argue with Lexington Christian. They're really good, and we got a lot of respect for them having scrimmaged them this year. They're a really good football team, and if you beat Catholic Somerset, you're obviously a big dog.
Well, we got a couple of good games coming up this week. You got Murray at Mayfield, and then you got Danville at Lexington Christian. Danville's kind of, they lost their big-time rusher.
They're having one of those typical public school football seasons where you just cannot keep winning at a high level every year. You're going to have a year where you just run out of talent, and you have an injury, and then all of a sudden you're very average.
Yeah.
But they obviously they got a lot of tradition.
And they tell us that the real estate over in the Boyle County market's pretty good right now, too.
No, and I'm from Western Kentucky, and I like the Murray program a lot, but Murray hadn't beaten Mayfield since I've been in high school.
Yeah.
It's just not happening. Sometimes they lose to them twice a year. They're going to lose to them twice this year, too.
Yeah. And it's flipped during basketball season.
Yeah.
Murray's loaded.
You can get it back.
Danville being down, does that have anything to do with Chuck Smith being back over there?
You never know. I know that kids run together, and it's been my experience here that when you get a good group together, the kids know before the adults know that they're good because they start winning in Little League. And so when they come out of the fourth grade, they're walking around like, you know what, Mom, we're really good at football. And so then the rest of the kids are like, well, I want to play football because they're really good, and it steamrolls. And no doubt about it, this is one of the best Boyle County teams ever. So you never know what happened when they were younger. Those kids may have run over to Boyle County. I don't know, but it's probably not coincidental.
3A, Coach.
I'm going to go Bell County. I coached there for 1 year. I know Dudley Hilton very well. But one team that I think you'd have to put the asterisk beside, their record is not as great as the other ones, but DeSales is the real deal. Yeah. They beat Christian Academy of Louisville in a barn burner, I think, last week. Mercer beat Cal earlier in the year, but I really, if I had to pick a team right now, it would be Louisville DeSales. Ty Scroggins is a 5-time state champion at Louisville Central, and he's an assistant on that staff. Bell County's got a really good football program, but I think the state title in 3A is going to go through DeSales.
And we'll find out this weekend because DeSales comes to Mercer County.
Right, and that'll break that. Yeah, the winner of that game will be the 1. The 2, and I talked to David Buchanan just today, but the 2 seed in that one's going to have to go through play Cal, which nobody wants to do. Cal's going to be the 3, so you don't want to open the playoffs with Christian Academy of Louisville as defending state champ.
You mentioned DeSales and Mercer County plays this week, and then you got Estill County and Bell County playing, and then Belfry at Pike County Central. So a lot of big games going on there.
Nobody's beating Bell.
Until they get in the playoffs. Bell County will roll. One of my good friends and former assistants, Jordan Markham's at Estill County now, and he does a great job. He's the head coach, first-year coach. So I'm kind of silently pulling for Estill to have a great season. He's doing a good job. But I'd say Bell and DeSales are probably the 2 big dogs there.
You mentioned Coach Dudley Hilton. I got to meet him when he was at Bourbon County. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a big talker. I learned a lot from him, from just a mindset of how to make teams confidence. And one thing I've actually reiterated to our kids this week, when teams kick off to us, so many times on film I'll see a kid just fall on the ball. And I tell our guys, we're playing to win. Pick that thing up and run with it. Goal line's down there. Grab it, put 2 hands on it, and go to the goal line. Play like that all night long. Go attack the goal line and make them stop you. Learned that from Coach Hilton years ago, and we still use it. And his teams are always successful. You give him a year or 2 to get settled into a program, and he's the second winningest coach in Kentucky history. And I'm very proud on my resume when I die. It's going to say that I beat him twice, and I don't take that lightly.
That's good.
All right, we got the 4A, William.
Boyle County.
Yeah,
Boyle County.
We call them the Who You With Army over here. They rattle those rocks and chant Who You With.
Did that ever get on your nerves?
Oh my!
On the sideline,
did it
Coach?
get on my? No, what are you kidding me? You don't want to ever go over there and they got a good team and you're not so good and they're beating you 50 at halftime. And those people don't quit shaking those rocks and chanting Who You With. But Coach Smith is obviously one of the best, if not the best, football coach in the history of the state of Kentucky, and they are loaded. Anything short of an injury, I just don't think you can pick against Boyle this year. Franklin County's got a really good football team. Johnson Central's been to 3 or 4 state title games now, but I think the rest of them are dreaming if they think they're going to beat Boyle.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to take somebody playing defense and getting lucky. I mean, Boyle County has not been contested, and they can give up. They've given up scores. If you can score, Lexington Catholic can score, but can you stop
No.
That offense.
That's why I'm saying
almost impossible.
It's going to take an injury. I think quarterback going down or something like that. Not wishing that kid any ill will. I'm just saying what scenario could beat him. It'll probably take an injury.
You remember Boyle County very well. Reese McSher. I mean, he put a hurting on back in the day. But now it's Reese Smith. That guy's phenomenal.
Well, you don't win the games they've won without having good football players. I mean, Coach Smith does a good job, but he'll tell you too. He's had guys playing in the NFL and
Lamar Dawson.
Yeah, he's had some Mr. Footballs, and he might have another one this year. I mean, those kids are just really, really good.
All you need to know is Lexington came out, did a trick play, scored on their first play from scrimmage. Boyle County came out on their first play from scrimmage and hit a big play, just regular offense.
Just
and
right back
they
at
scored right back at it. It was 7-7 after 28 seconds.
I don't think I've seen Boyle County. Lose since the hook and ladder that Catholic did on them down there. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Catholic is confident they can beat them, I'm sure. And there's a mental thing playing Boyle too, because they walk in knowing they're the big dog. But Catholic's gotten their number a few times, and they're going to be confident they can play. But I still think that the road for the 4A state title goes through Boyle County.
All right, we're coming up to your class, Coach.
Why don't we save that one for last? Let's jump
you want to skip that and go to 6A?
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Well, surprisingly enough, you would think after you win the state title, 6A, it's going to turn over. But Louisville Male's got to be the pick again. They've already beaten Trinity. Trinity's got a couple losses. And if you get past Louisville Male and Trinity, as far as who you're actually talking about, you're grabbing. Because I'm telling you, the track record shows that when the playoffs come, it's going to be the Bulldogs or the Shamrocks, and you can forget anybody else because track record proves it. Male beat Trinity. Now, can Trinity beat them? Obviously so. Coach Beatty's a legendary coach, but now Chris Wolf at Louisville Male is one of the, quietly building a resume that's getting up there. But I think you got to pick Male. They just seem to have it all back again, and obviously they got a swagger that's unbeatable right now.
Yeah, Central and North are having great seasons. You got to be proud of those seasons, but it's a different thing. It's just another level.
Well, they play each other this Friday night. So
I'm going to tell you, we got the film Central Hardin scrimmaged Franklin, just to give you some perspective on how good Central Hardin is. They scrimmaged, and it was 41-7. Central Hardin was beating Franklin County at halftime when they scrimmaged. Now, that's a scrimmage, but Central Hardin had that much offensive potential and that much strength on defense. They are a really good football team, doing a really good job. They're a wing T team, too. Coach Mattingly down there does a great job. But, you can't hardly pick against Male. I know Scott County's excited that they're not in that conversation anymore. When Coach McKee and I talk, he says, I just wake up every morning being thankful that I don't have to play Trinity and Male.
John?
Well, I guess that's the only big game. I guess Bullitt East is at Male, but that's probably
a foregone conclusion. I just don't see anybody hanging with Male.
Right.
What's your thoughts, Coach Truck?
Hey, I'm riding with them Bulldogs all the way. Coach Wolf and my Male Bulldogs, yes, sir.
All right, so now we're here at Class 5A, and John, what do we got there?
Well, of course, you got Covenant Catholic on top, and a candidate for Mr. Football over there, and the tight end they have.
I played them when I was at Grant County for 4 years, and it's a different breed up there. They've got big kids. They're well schooled. They're physical. They've got Division I players all over the field. And last year when I was talking earlier about the RPI setting up the two best teams, I think myself and a lot of people were shocked that South Warren beat them in the state finals last year. But South Warren, when you got to looking at their roster, they had a defensive tackle going to Notre Dame, a quarterback going to Duke. It wasn't Rudy out there playing football. They had some dudes, and so Covcath's obviously got some players, but they're not separated this year like they have been in the past couple of years. Covcath had been putting their foot on people's throats for the last 2 years, and this year you're starting to see some scores where they're in the ball game. Highlands only lost to them 13-0 on Friday night, so those are numbers that are maybe the ball bounces the right way for you one night, you can get them. They're not what they have been, but still I think they're obviously the favorite.
Coach Eddie Evanston up there, he does a really good job, and he's not afraid. He's kind of like you, Coach. I mean, you guys aren't afraid to take a risk if you have to go for a 2-point conversion.
Right. He does a great job. He won a state championship at Newport Central Catholic, and then went to Covcath and won another one. One of the very few coaches to ever win one at two different schools. But they're well schooled. They got a really good staff. They got a ton of players. That's a tall order for anybody to beat. Somebody's going to have to play their best football that night and hope the ball bounces their way a time or two.
I think Douglas is the one that's putting people, their foot on people's throats this year. I think that they felt like it got away from them last year. They felt like that they did not play their best game against Scott County. I don't believe when they face Scott County again that they're going to let that happen. We will see. But if they get past Scott County, they're going a long way, and it's it might be a state title in the third year for Frederick Douglass.
Do you feel like Douglass has to prove it, though? It's kind of like everybody's waiting to see, like, are they for real?
I think they do. You're talking about a program. Fact about Frederick Douglass, they've only lost to 2 different teams in the history of the school. They lost to Danville the very first game they ever played, and they've lost to Scott County the other games. They've never lost to anybody else. But with all that said, they still haven't advanced. So until, you got to beat the man to be the man, I think they're going to have to make that move. Obviously, they get a lot of respect. Our kids hear probably more about Douglass than most just because we're so close and we border Fayette County. And I know that the Frederick Douglass staff went into this season thinking, okay, this is our year. I tell our guys all the time, we don't take turns. If I can beat you this year, I'm going to beat you every time I play you. So I do know the kids at Scott County are very confident that when they comes back and it matters, they feel like they're going to have the upper edge. And that's just a mindset of we've been there and done that. That's the hump that our kids are trying to get over. And I said this publicly, it was harder for us to win the first district title than it was the second district title, because until you've been to the moon, you don't know that you can go to the moon. And once you've been there, you can go back. And so what our kids have got to do is get through the mindset of, can we not only win the district, but can we make it to that third round of the playoffs, which we haven't kicked that door down. So that's the way we're looking at it. That's the way Douglass is still – there's still a door there that Douglass hasn't kicked down that they're going to have to if they're ever going to do it.
And the question for Douglass has been, do they have enough playmakers? They lost Fishback last year, and you don't know if they've replaced that. They lost DeKalb Crowdis before the season started, and everybody thought, uh-oh. Well, it hasn't mattered. It hasn't. They make enough plays, and they've been mercy ruling everybody and shutting them all out. So you don't really know if any of these kids can really rack up numbers because they're only playing 2 quarters.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing that I think did hurt them last year. They steamrolled everybody, as you just mentioned. And until you've been in some dogfights and found out what your team looks like down 14 in the second half or down 7 with 2 minutes to go, you don't know what you got. Some kids aren't going to react very well, and the only way to get over that hump is to get in that situation and get through it. And it's not their fault, but they've just destroyed everybody they played.
And they have to play 6-7 cities public schools because the Lexington AD demands that they all play each other. Yeah. And the only team that scored on them is Tate's Creek. He scored 2 touchdowns on them, but nobody else can. Yeah. Nobody else can do anything. Yeah. And it's a question of when it comes down to it, when somebody does hit you in the mouth. And it's going to happen. What are you going to do? Scott County got in a deep hole early with a 3 and out and a bad punt, and then all of a sudden it just snowballed on them and it was over. What's going to happen when the bad breaks go the other way?
I think we'll find out what kind of team Douglass is in the last regular season of the game. Regular season game when they play at Lexington Catholic.
Well, yeah, Bo Allen's able to put up some numbers, and we'll see how stout that defense is. That defense is going to be tested against Bo Allen because Bo Allen can score on anybody. Yeah. And that team. But I think Douglass is too much for Catholic offensively themselves.
Well, then we have these East Jessamine Jaguars. And you mentioned a loophole, Coach. That you might get Pulaski County.
Yeah, there's an RPI obviously in play out there, and some of the recent numbers show that if Cove Cath were to lose to Highlands and some things play out like they could, we could play Pulaski County in that third round. And then who knows? You kind of avoid the big dogs and let Frederick Douglass and Cove Cath go kill each other. That'd be fine with me. I look at it through a realistic lens, and Covington Catholic has won, I think, 6 or 7 state titles. Frederick Douglass is obviously killing everybody. Pulaski County, we've played them. Last 2 times we played them, we beat them once and went to the wire with them. So from a psychological edge, you'd want to play Pulaski. But at the same time, you're going to have to play whoever you play.
So folks understand this. You have your district,
right,
and you have your district champion. And then when it comes to, they take 1 through 4 districts, right?
Right.
And 5 through 8, and that's when the RPI comes
into
play.
The RPI will kick in the third round. So what we're going to do, we play, like if we win this week, we're the District 1 seed. We're not technically a district champion like we used to be. So they'll make us the 1, they'll make whoever the 4, and then whoever the 2 and 3. So 1 plays 4, 2 plays 3. Then the winners play each other the same way you do in basketball and baseball, softball, a lot of the sports. All right, then the winners play. So then the winner of that who goes to the third round will be the district champ. You're then divided into East and West. On the eastern side, you'll be ranked 1 through 4. West will be ranked 1 through 4. And on the eastern side, the 1 in the East will play 4 in the East. 2 in the East will play 3 in the East. West does the same thing. Then after that, you'll have 4 teams left, and then there is no East and West. It'll just be 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. The unfortunate thing is, in the East, you have Covington Catholic, Scott County, and Frederick Douglass. So we've got the top 3 dogs right now in the whole state of Kentucky on one side. So if you're coming in as the 4, it's going to make life a little tougher. But the latest RPI shows that there is a chance Pulaski could sneak up and get that, especially if Covcath gets upset by Highlands, which is still in the realm of possibilities.
I think time's getting close here, so William wants to run this out. So let's take a look at your game coming up Friday night against Woodford County. What do you think?
They've got a very good football team. They've been, they haven't had a lot of success the last couple of years, so it's just one of those things that once you start having a little success, your kids come to practice a little earlier. They work a little harder. I saw that happen in 2015. We were not very good in 14, and the kids just, as soon as we started winning, they just started buying in. And, kids are doing extra, and they're working harder, and they're running harder. And Woodford's, they're going through that right now. They just found a way to win the game the other night. They had every chance in the world to lose to Collins and just found a way to win. They're going to be motivated. I know Coach Johnson's going to spell out what this means to their program. And they do a good job. Got a running back right now. Their fullback, number 2, is just a very, very good football player. They play smash mouth football like we do, which is uncommon. We just don't play many teams that do it. We play a lot of teams that throughout the course of the year they'll play shotgun teams, and that's all they ever see. And so we get under center and come at them, and it's something new. But Woodford County's not going to be shocked by us being under center because they're under center. But they run the wing. They run the double wing. The Georgia Southern Air Force Navy offense. That the triple option is a big part of, and they do a very good job with it. Their quarterback runs it really well. They can run play action pass off of it. So we're going to have to play as physical a game as we've played all year long on both sides of football to come out with a win in this one.
Cowboys or Eagles? Who you got tonight?
I can't stand the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going for the Eagles.
Oh, my God.
I'm a New York Giants fan to the death, so go Giants, 2-5. We're terrible, but I can't stand the Cowboys.
Hey, real quick, we do want to thank Sandy Adams and Zaxby's for all that they did for us here today by hosting the show. Matt Moore, who sells cars, I believe, over at Southern Chevrolet. Go check him out and buy yourself a new car. I might come see you for a new truck pretty soon, man. Yeah, I'm going to come over there. Gary Ball drives one of your all's cars around, so maybe we can get that going. But Jared Peck, Lexington Herald leader.
HL Prep.
Yep, HL Preps on Twitter. Coach Mike Boland and the East Jessamine Jaguars. Coach, it's been fun to have you here tonight.
We appreciate you having us out. We love all the publicity we can get. And these kids, the window of time to play is so short. I just love for them to have their name out there. It's a great thing for them.
Absolutely. Mingy Beef Jerky, our title sponsor on the network. I saw you look at the hat. I was like, yeah, that's Mingy Beef Jerky. Coach Truck with Big Things Kentucky in the house tonight. And watch his show on Thursday night, and he'll let you know if he's going to pick with you.
I hope he doesn't, because I think last time he picked against us, we won. So, Coach, you go pick whoever you want. In fact, pick against us, because I kind of like being the underdog. That's just how we play.
Almost every week.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's fine with me. Our kids take that as a chip on the shoulder. I don't have to motivate them when you pick against us.
All right, everybody that showed up tonight, thank you so much for all your support, and we'll see you guys probably in the playoffs again on the PrepSpin Broadcast, Coach.
We'd love to come back and do it again.
All right, Coach Mike Boland and the Jaguars, and that's going to be it for John Carmichael. This is William. Oh, and let me thank Chan. I got to thank Chan real quick. Chan Robinson, man, you did an outstanding job tonight, and speaking to this mic real quick, tell people how to get in touch with you.
Okay, it's Chan Robinson with iWoo's Production. That's EYEWOO. 859-241-7594.
All right, 7194. Give him a call if you need, like we did. We wanted some live sound in here tonight to go along with our podcast setup, and he was able to accommodate, and I appreciate that, Chan.
I appreciate you having me, man. It's good working with you.
Yes, sir. You too. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight here at Zaxby's. Again, thanks to Zaxby's of Nicholasville. Check them out. The best chicken in town, we're told. And I had some chicken wings earlier today. Trust me, it's really good. So long, everybody.
This is Gary Ball for Crown Trophy of Lexington. Crown Trophy offers youth sports awards, corporate awards,
They offer signs and a full line of promotional products. They're located at 2680 Wilhite Drive on the corner of Nicholasville, New Circle Road, just behind Starbucks. Stop by and pick up your copy of our 85-page catalog. Crown Trophy is nationally known, but locally owned with 150 stores nationwide. Crown Trophy, the official provider of plaques for the Scholastic Ball Report and PrepSpin.
Folks, this is Gary Ball, and you hear my catchphrase, soup and a sandwich. When I want the best potato soup and prime rib sandwich, I head over to Rafferty's Restaurants after my games. Check out Rafferty's 9 great locations throughout Kentucky, and all you teens, you can eat at Rafferty's before those big ball games. The open prime rib sandwich is what legends are made of. Ask Joe B. Hall, the legend himself, it's his favorite. Rafferty's a big supporter of high school sports throughout Kentucky. Rafferty's, where the special is you.
Did you know, in addition to education assistance, UPS now provides housing for qualified employees through the UPS Kentucky Living Options and Opportunities Path, also known as UPS Kentucky Loop. You can work part-time in Louisville, go to school at Jefferson Community and Technical College, and receive housing for up to 2 years. Earn a degree or learn a trade. It's up to you. Loop benefits are available to those who live outside the Louisville metro area, whether you're just starting college or going back to school. It's time to get in the loop. For more information, visit upsjobs.com. That's upsjobs.com.
I work really hard, but I don't make a whole lot of money. And now my hours are being cut back to work. I've got so far behind on my bills, I feel like I'll never get caught up.
We're Atkinson, Sims, and Kermode.
We're not going to judge you.
We've come for the way to get you started for less.
Start your bankruptcy for as little as $78 now. The consultation is free. In Lexington and now in London.
By the numbers, Whitaker Bank loves the Kentucky communities we serve.
There are 50 Whitaker Bank locations serving Kentucky communities just like mine.
61 Whitaker Bank ATMs throughout Kentucky make getting quick access to cash easy.
Whitaker Bank staff serves the needs of nearly 70,000 Kentucky customers every day.
We share your passion, Kentucky. Love the bank that loves you back. Whitaker Bank is uniquely Kentucky.
I wanted to get back on the basketball court. I want to get back to the ref I used to.